Hey, what's up? You wanna make a simple sandbox sort of what the hell? Anyways, you wanna make some weird ass sketchy thing, project 3D thing by yourself? Well, you come across the right video. Let's jump right in. Before we begin anything, guys, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of the views and all of the likes and the support. Honestly, I didn't think the video would even get that much views and get recommended to a bunch of people. But thank you all, and I just really appreciate all the support. But anyway, let's get right into the video. So, all the thing you saw at the beginning is just exactly what you saw. It's a sandbox thing, like just something you can mess around with, and then you can modify it yourself later. In order to begin with the project, you first have to implement your Cena. Now, if you don't have it, you're gonna open your CMD or command prompt or Windows PowerShell on your Windows machine. Type in pip install Ursina, hit enter, and boom, you have the Ursina module implemented into Python. After you've done that, you can now begin. Make your Python file, and let's start working. First thing you gotta make is implement or import Ursina. So you gotta write in from Ursina import all. And then you're gonna import the random module because we're gonna need it later. And then the first person controller. Now once you've written all of that, don't write in the stuff as the way I wrote it. Okay? How about we go a bit down and first of all write in the sky. Well, the sky is literally the sky. Let's run the app for a second. Okay, guys, I found the program, and the sky is literally this. This is the sky that we're talking about. This over here. This is the sky, alright? Now we're back onto here. So as I was saying, this is the sky. You want to write this in, and then no, you're not gonna make the first place. You're not gonna make the player. Wait a bit. You're gonna want to make in the map. So you're gonna bring in the map as an entity, obviously. You're gonna have to give it a module. Is it a cube? Is it a sphere? What is it? It's a plane, just a big ass mesh plane that you can walk around. And the scale is gonna be 100 in the X, 1 on the Y, and 100 in the Z. And you can obviously modify this all by yourself. The color is the color. You can make it blue, red, orange, lime, whatever you want. And the texture, you can just make it white underscore cube if you want to, or you can make it just brick like we have in our wall here. Personally, I have like this PNG called rock. I made it myself. This is the texture, and then you get the texture underscore scale. Basically, how big is the texture on the the cube, or basically the map, the plane, basically. It's 100 on the X and 100 on the Z. And the collider equals box, as if the first person controller is gonna hit it, it's as something as if it's hitting a box. Now you have the plane, the ground that you saw, basically the map. You're gonna now want to make in the player. You're gonna say the player is the first person controller, and the Y that it spawns on is 2, and the origin is negative 0.5. So you should get something like this. So follow me on each step I do, right? Because it's a bit complicated. So first, we made the sky. We have the first person controller, which is you. Ignore uh, the yellow thing in my hand, and then you have our plane, the map. You see? All right. So we're doing so far so well. If you have this, now let's continue. Now back into the program. So as we were saying, we made the player. We we made in the map. You're gonna now want to make in some functions and the enemies and all the stuff. But first, let's make some walls, bro. You want to make some walls? Let's make some walls. You're gonna say that the wall that you saw, we're gonna program it just like we did to the map. It's an entity, obviously, and the module is gonna be a cube, a sphere. But come on, dude, have you ever seen a spherical wall? That was a terrible. Anyways, I'll level make jokes again. So the collider is gonna be a box, just like we said, and the position, basically the position of it, just like how you position anything. Pretty sure you learned this in geometry. This is why you actually need to learn physics and geometry if you're gonna become like a programmer, because this is pretty basic stuff that you need to know. Right. And personally, I've modified this all myself before I learned of this, so I modified a bunch of stuff. Okay, you can put it whatever you want. This is the X, this is the Y, this is the Z, and this is how big is it on a scale of 1 to, I don't know how big you want to make it. Okay, and the rotation basically, I added this just so like if you're watching you understand what it is. Basically, you can rotate the object in a simple direction depending, like for example, if our collider was in a box, it was something else. If you hit into it, maybe it'll rotate by 2 degrees on the X. So if this was a 2, our player would hit it and it would rotate by 2 degrees. That's if the collider was not a box. But personally, I don't know other colliders right now because I'm still starting to get used to it. And then here you put in the texture, brick, y underscore cube. If you have one, just like I did over here, it's cool, fine. Texture underscore scale, just like we said it. And the color.rgb is a red, green, blue. So when it's white, it's 255. When it's red, it's 1280. And when it's yellow, it's 0. Or you can just make it any random color. You can just make it red or blue or anything, whatever you want. Okay, so if you're following along, forget these guys. Okay, these are just some beans. If you're following along, you should have the sky, first person controller, moving, the plane, the map. Now the walls. Now take one of these walls, maybe this one over here, or this one, maybe this one. Just like we said, the texture is a brick, it's a cube. I actually forgot what the module was, but basically just like how we said it. And the scale, the position is, wait, this is the one that we made. This is -8 on the X, 0 on the Y, 0 on the Z, all of that stuff. And it doesn't rotate, see? And the collider is a box. You can collide with it. And now our next step is to modify the things a bit. So if you want to duplicate something, just don't go, like for example, I want to make other walls. I want to implement more walls and make a big ass map, alright? You don't have to keep writing in wall2 equals entity module. You can just duplicate it, my guy, with the same preferences and properties that the first module has. So I just did this. You did wall_2, duplicate, wall1. Also, remember when you're coding in your Sina Python, always if you're gonna make an entity or something, never forget to put a comma and a space. I don't know if this is a period or a comma actually. Okay, but basically put that in, alright? So you see, we duplicated it and we made a bunch of walls. You'll see the bunch of walls that I made, and you can change the properties. So for example, the Z here is 0. This time I made it 5 so it can move it and all of that stuff, right? You can duplicate as many as you want. And now in this game you want to have some pow, you know, the pew pew and all that stuff. Now personally, I don't know how to make animations. I am learning, but it's a huge pain in the butt. Trust me, it's really hard. Please, Sensei, please. Okay, forget that. That was just me overwhelming. Okay, you want to make a gun. Personally, I don't have a gun module. I tried to model one, but it turned out as a failure, and I'm not going to show the module because it's terrible. But if you have a gun module, congratulations, you're a better Blender user than me. I actually use Blender, but I'm still getting used to it. So say you want to make a gun, right? It's an entity and the module. I personally have a module called gun. You put in the name of the module we have, and then you're gonna see the parent. The parent is, for example, if you're walking in the street and you say, hey, this is my parent, it's your mom, you're stuck to it. So this is an example. The parent of the gun, which the parent that it's stuck to is you, the camera.ui, which in this case, the camera.ui is the first person controller, which is the player. And the scale is just how big it is. Now, since this is not an object that is on the ground, that doesn't have any collision, it's obviously not going to have like any form of X, Y, and Z scale and all of that stuff. It's just going to be a normal object that is parented to the original first person controller. And I think, guys, I'm going to make a part 2 because the video is about to end. So I guess I'll see you in part 2, which will be uploaded like literally 10 minutes later. Peace.